Hey everybody, welcome back to Plum Figgy. This is Tammy. Okay, so I've gone ahead and removed the spine that was with the book front and back covers. There is an issue with this back cover. It's kind of bent funny. I think it was just damaged. I don't know that I can really fix that. It may just have to be that way. It's just a little bit warped, but that's okay. Honestly, at the end of the day, I don't think anybody's ever going to notice. So anyway, okay, so I went ahead and made my own spine. I made it 2 inches wide. Really, I didn't need it to be that wide. I really probably could have been fine with 1 3/4 inch wide, but by the time you curve the spine, you remove some of that width, and so I think this will be kind of the perfect width in the end. And then I just added some bands, so we'll go ahead and make this kind of a fancier spine than usual. But today I want to cover the front and back cover. Well, I just want to construct the cover, essentially. Normally, this is not something I would be doing before I decorate, but I know that I'm not going to add tons of decoration into this journal, so I'm okay with doing this is what I'm going to use for the spine cover material. And then for the actual covers, I've got this Tim Holtz fabric. I think this is going to look really fantastic, the colors together and everything. So anyway, yeah, what I was saying was this, I wasn't saying it, I was thinking it and about to say it. This is actually a linen napkin that I picked up from Hobby Lobby like a couple years ago. It might even say the year. Anyway, I picked it up, and it was, they had a bunch of these on like super clearance. I don't know if they were 80% off or 90% off, but I got them for next to nothing. And so I picked up all that they had left. I got, I think, 2 of this navy color, 2 or 3 green, 2 purple, violet ones, or maybe they're maroon, and then that really light pinkish purple. It's got the real tiny little pom-poms. You maybe have seen that one before, but anyway, I've just absolutely loved them. So my point being, if you're shopping out and about, don't overlook this kind of stuff. I mean, this is linen. It's great. First of all, for the material itself, you know, I just had a thought. I wonder if we did the cover in blue and then the spine in this. So actually, I think I like that a lot better. And I think because this is a little bit thicker, it may hide some of the blemishes that we've got on the cover already happening. So, okay, well, let's just do that instead. I'm good with that because I like, this is way more expensive fabric. And to be completely honest, I'd rather not use it as much, and that way I can save that for another project down the road. So that'll be fun, and it'll be a really cool looking cover that way. So my only concern is this has this, I'm gonna have to cover that in some white paper, but I can easily do that. So, you know, all that paper that I save, oops, for this reason. Let's see. I bet you I got a nice small piece in here. There we go. This will be perfect. Well, actually, I think I'd rather have a full piece. May still be able to see those lines. Let's see. Nope. Oh my gosh, you guys, I don't know about you, but my allergies and just everything is killing me this weekend. I've had a headache since Friday morning and it's now Sunday. I'm just about ready for that to be done. Like any time now would be good. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see what I got back here. Let's take this off of here. Oh, the things I didn't expect to do. It's alright though. I should know that this is 2 by 2. I just did it. Silly Tammy, you don't need to measure. Okay. But we've had a whole lot of really bad weather this weekend. We had real bad storms Friday night, overnight. Really, really high winds, and actually thousands of people were without power. And some of them still don't have power. I was one of the very, very lucky ones, and absolutely no damage whatsoever. Never lost power, thankfully. Honestly, you would never know that anything had happened if you just went outside my house. The worst thing was there was a few leaves from my neighbor's backyard tree in my backyard. I'm like, well, those don't belong in my yard. And then I have a little patio area that's covered, so I have an outdoor rug out there. That really hurt. And the corner of that was flopped over. So, I really can't complain. So, okay, well, let's go ahead and I'm going to let that dry. I'll focus on the front and back covers here real quick. I'm hoping that I have enough of this material to cover them completely. It's got this really cool edge detail, so I'm going to cut it just beyond that and rip. I like to have the ripped edge. And I think I'll just do that on all 4 sides. And then definitely keeping this because this is like great for embellishing. Yeah, I have a feeling we may use this entire piece, or if not all of it, most of it. So, and linen is pretty heavy duty. Does not like to, yeah, I said duty. Does not like to rip very easily, so it gets all kinds of wonky. I maybe shouldn't be ripping it, but oh well. I'm not a big fan of using the rotary cutter for cutting fabric. To me, that's just too much work. But then I've never been a quilter, so I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm not, well, that's one reason why I'm not a quilter. I am not that precise. I don't care enough to be that precise. And I would much rather just make a little cut mark and rip it and be done with it. So, okay, I'm gonna lay this out and let's see how well. Oh, good. Okay, they'll be fine. It's gonna be a little snug on the edges, but I think it'll be just fine. So, I'm gonna make a cut here. I know you guys can't really see everything, but you can see we've got about, oops, this much on this side and about that same amount on the other side. So I'm gonna scooch that over a little bit, and then I'm just gonna make a cut directly in the middle down here. So I've made I made a cut up here for my height, and I'll rip that all the way across, and then I'll come back and rip this other little mark down here that I made. That way, this whole extra piece that I'm not going to need here is fully intact, and I'm not wasting any more fabric than I need to. So win-win. Yeah, I'm a frugal crafter. I'm not the frugal crafter. She's awesome, but I've always been a very frugal crafter. That's probably one reason why I've got so many supplies, because I just I never use anything up, it seems like. So, okay, so there's that. It's a little bit wonky, but it'll work out. And just get it back to where it was and remove all these extra little bits. Yeah, it's a little bit wonky. So, okay, I'm going to use this piece for my back. Actually, I'll do it this direction so you can see it all. Okay, so let's see. My front is this one, and this is my back. So we need to put it down this way. I almost forgot. I need to put glue down on the this, because we don't want little puckers of fabric happening. And so, let's see. I should do it a bit at a time so it doesn't dry on me. These are awfully large covers. And I really don't want the glue to show. Actually, what I should be using probably is PVA glue, and I have some of that. But I guess I've already started on this. So, okay, I'm going to try and line this up in the center as well as I can, and I'm going to flip it over and smooth that down. Not going to go anywhere, and we'll keep gluing. Okay, so I've got both of those now mounted this way, but we're not done yet. We need to fold over our edges and do the corners. So at this stage, I need to cut out from the corners my fabric so that I don't have, well, I guess, so you could do it one of two ways. You could fold the corners over this way and then fold them in like this. Actually, I think I'm going to do it like that on these, because this linen, I think it's just going to be a better solution. So I really don't want my corners of my book to come through. Now, do you see what just happened? You might not be able to see it very well. I put way too much glue there, and that glue came straight through this fabric. And that is, with using this linen, you got to be real careful with Fabri-Tac, because it will do that. Now, I'm not worried about that because it's all going to be hidden in the end, but let's see, did I get that on straight? Let's try that again. There we go. Okay. And I may do book corners, actually. Do I want to do book corners? Well, normally I wouldn't do it like this at this point. But there's so much glue there, it was holding it in for me. So I'll go ahead and just leave it that way. And it'll kind of help me out, I think. My goal is to get these corners to look very nice and kind of mitered in a way. So, okay, less glue this time. Need enough to hold, but not too much, so it doesn't come through completely. Okay, and I'll just keep doing that on all 4 corners. So I got a little too much, so I'm going to spread that out with my finger. I don't normally do my corners this way, so I'm not as practiced at it, but it is definitely a good way to do it if you're not comfortable with cutting away the fabric. So, okay, so since this corner is basically already kind of glued down, I'm gonna work with that and start on this side. I do try to do the 2 sides first and then do the ends last. I don't know why, I guess I've always felt more comfortable doing it that way. So, okay, I gotta get rid of this extra piece of thread here and stick some glue down in there. Make sure this doesn't go anywhere. And I'm gonna very gently pull it in and stick it down. Now, this is where my ripping the fabric doesn't always help me out because as you can see, it's trying to curl under, which I don't want because it's gonna create bumps then under my paper, or if I choose fabric to put over the cover, then it would be in the way of that, so, or it would show through that even worse. So I'm going to try and smooth that as well as I can, and I think I need a little bit more glue here. Okay, so I'm going to call that good, and then I'm going to move to the opposite side. Now the reason why I like to do it this way is because if, for example, I went from this side to this side, it would be very easy if I hadn't already glued my cover down, haven't already glued this down, to warp your fabric. So if I started pulling on this side and then I started pulling on this side and then I went over here, by the time you turn that around, you're going to have all kinds of wavy lines happening. As it is now, it's fairly straight up and down, left and right, the weave of the fabric. And especially for a fabric like linen where, you know, you can see that weave in there. And so it does make a difference. So by pulling it on the opposite side that you work on, you're going to avoid doing that. So if I was to pull on this and the fabric underneath shifted a little bit, at least it would shift this direction and probably wouldn't shift that much, really. That's the hope anyway. But yeah, that's those little minor details, you know, the details really do make a difference on what kind of a finished product you have and how satisfied you will be with your finished project. So they do take time sometimes, but in the end, I think once you kind of get used to doing them that way, no more extra time than it would have taken otherwise once you kind of get into the groove of it. But I personally would rather have a really nicely done whatever it is that I'm making and had spent a little bit extra time the first few times I did it than to constantly be frustrated and not understand why it doesn't look as good as I was hoping it would. So, okay, just gonna add a bit of glue. Now you can See, I got too much glue there. I don't know how well you can see it, but there's a little dot of wet glue there, so I need to be careful. Remind myself. Okay, so yeah, see, I am pulling on this, so it is important too to glue that first side down. I know it's a step that it's really easy to skip, but I wouldn't do it if I were you. Another little tip that I have on gluing this stuff, if you don't feel like wiping it with your finger every single time, what you could do is not glue where you know the paper, don't glue where the paper is not gonna cover, and then just focus on gluing where it will cover. And if your paper is sturdy enough, it should be fine, and not, you know, show or anything. So that's one other tip. I don't know if that made sense, but yeah, see, this is one reason why I don't love doing the corners this way. It's really easy then sometimes for your fabric to wrinkle like this. Yeah, I got too much glue there again. But that's okay, because I know that my fabric and my paper is going to go up right about to that line. So it's going to cover pretty much all of that glue anyway. So that's why I'm saying if you don't want to worry about smoothing it out, just make sure to not glue all the way up to the very top. Just kind of start your glue line about there. And you can hide it pretty well. This one's gonna be a little tricky for me. Get that little piece of fuzz out of there. Not too bad. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this for the other piece, and then I'll meet you back here when I'm done with that. Okay, so I've got that done. I'm going to go around the out edges of this and just kind of add some distress, just to kind of grunge it up just a little bit, make it a little bit older looking, like it's not brand new, like I just didn't make it. Okay, and I'll make sure and do that on the insides too, because you will see that when I'm all done. I almost considered also doing some black splatters even, but I don't know if I want to go that far. As soon as you do something like that, then you mess it up. This is such a unique size that I don't really want to mess it up. So. Okay, so we've got a pretty grungy bottom down there. I think I like this one for my front cover, and then this one for the back cover. I do have a little issue there. Not sure how to hide that. That is some glue that got through. So that's what'll happen. Otherwise, it doesn't look like I have any issues with glue. Maybe one down here. Okay, well, I'll figure that out. All right, so as I was working on all that, I thought I wanted to do a stitching down this side, but now I'm thinking maybe I don't want to do that. I change my mind a lot, you guys, so just, it is what it is. Instead, I think what I want to do is do the usual way of, let's see, I'm trying to figure out where I want to. I need some for the top and bottom. I'm going to do the usual way where the fabric will show on this front and back cover. So, okay. Yeah, I like, or do I like this part? This one's a lot more scribbly. If I did this one, you wouldn't see very much of it. I think I'll go here instead. So, okay. Well, I need about this much on both sides, so I'm gonna just go ahead and rip the whole thing down lengthwise, and then that way, again, I'm not wasting as much fabric, hopefully. So I have all of this left over now for using somewhere else or some other way, and then the whole rest of the other piece of the fat quarter, this is the piece that we're going to use. Okay, get those out of the way. Now I need to remember that this is going to shrink a little bit when I do this, so make sure I have enough on the top and bottom so it'll cover completely and wrap around. Let's go back there. Okay, now I need to go get my gel matte medium. You could also use PVA glue, which is a little bit wetter. I'm more comfortable with the gel matte medium just because I've only just recently bought actual PVA glue for book binding and making recently, so I think I need to practice on that, or with that, on my own a little bit more before I go full force with it. So I'll go ahead and I'll be right back. I'll go get my gel matte medium. Okay, so I got my, this is, well, it's matte gel medium. This is by Master's Touch, which is what I've been using lately. You can find this at Hobby Lobby. And then just a cheapo paintbrush. Now the goal with this is you gotta make sure and get it into the nooks and crannies, because what we're gonna do is make sure we get our fabric all up into there, and then it's gonna dry that way. So we want a thin but sturdy layer of glue, not too much glue. Otherwise, again, you're gonna have seepage through to the front side, which you really don't want. And I also need to work quickly because this will obviously dry quickly. So, and actually I might just do half and then finish the other half after I've put the glue down. Okay, so I'm gonna try and get it on there as in the middle as much as I possibly can. And then now I'm just gonna rub my fingers over it to make sure it's really adhered down. And actually, if you have a little tool, this is my tweezers. The end of the tweezers work really well to get down into the crevice there. And I should have added some glue to the sides, but also add glue to the sides because you're gonna wanna get a nice bond against the sides as well, and the top. So I think that'll be okay. I think I'm gonna take my distressed stain to this at the end and hopefully define these edges just a little bit better. We'll kind of experiment with that, I guess. Alright, so now I'm gonna keep going and do the bottom half. And I'm only holding it up because I just don't want my surface to get all dirty. I'm tired of cleaning it all the time, I swear. It's like, that's all I ever do. Okay. Getting in there with my fingernails. Maybe go back over the one that we just did. Make sure it's really nice and crisp and defined. Okay. So, I'm going to let that sit for just a minute while I go wash up my paintbrush. And yeah, see, I'm making a mess. Now I need to clean my desk off again. So I'll just let this sit for a bit while I do all that cleaning, and I'll be right back. Okay, I changed my mind on putting away my gel matte medium because it occurred to me I should really just use that to adhere this to the front and back covers. So I'm gonna go ahead and test out. I'm gonna do it in kind of an inconspicuous place and see how it looks first. Let's see. Well, I don't know. I think it's helping. Maybe you can see it better and a little lighter. Yeah, I think it's helping a little bit. So go ahead and do that real quick. Yep, I definitely like it up there. Looks good. What is instant aging and antiquing is awesome. So maybe the distressing below and above the actual ridge is what I want to do instead of on the ridge. I'm trying to think, how would it naturally age in distress, you know? not going to push my luck on that. I'm going to keep it to just that, and I think that looks pretty darn good. So now we get to line this up. Whoa! Oh, I'm going to have to redo the first signature now. Now I get to line this all up and get it ready to be glued down. So this will be my back, which is always a little bit weird because it looks like it's the front because it's on the right, but it's not. It's your back cover and then your front cover. And you want about 1/8 of an inch in between the edge of your spine piece and the edge of your cover. So I'm going to go ahead and just add some glue. Make sure I got this right. Okay, so just to the edge here, and again, I just want a fairly thin layer. It will hold. You don't need to go crazy with it. And I'm purposely not going too far in because I can always add more, but I don't want it to show, if at all possible. So this does dry matte, which is nice, but still better safe than sorry, I think. Okay, so put this down. I'm going to line up my top and bottom, left and right, and push it down. And help it really be there. So I think this is good for now. Now I'm going to do the same thing but for the front cover, which, oh good, and oh, did I hide that? Nope, that was glue. There was one corner where some of the white was kind of peeking through, and I kind of wanted to hide that if I could, but I think I did, so that's good. So yep, just going to do the same thing on the front cover. Again, being careful not to go too far in. We can add more glue if we need to. Get rid of extra fuzzies and things. Okay, and repeating what I just did, I'm going about 1/8 of an inch away from the spine, making sure that my top and bottom are lined up as well as I can. And then let's flip that over. And push it down. So it did get a little, it didn't rip quite evenly there, but that's okay. And as you can see, it's not 100% centered, but honestly, you're never going to have the book like this. Most people are not going to notice that, thankfully. I notice those things, but then I have a sickness. It's called perfectionism. Okay, so let's see. I think be very carefully adding some more glue here just to make sure it's fully covered, and I don't want to get any glue on the actual cover itself. You don't need tons, it'll work. So there's the back. Now I'll do the same thing for the front. I am so glad we made this decision. We, as in me, made this decision to use this the script fabric for the spine instead of the cover. I think this is going to look really elegant and nice, so it's always my goal. Okay, that'll be good. Now we're gonna fold this up, and I'm testing This is fairly thin fabric, so I think it'll be okay. Normally I would, you know, I think I will anyway. I'm gonna cut a slit where the edges are, and I'm stopping just before I get to the where it'll fold over. And the reason I'm doing that is because then you can account for that weird overlap and gapping thing that happens. So, okay, and now I'm again just adding some glue to my fabric. You could add it to the fabric or to the spine piece itself. I don't trust my judgment on height of the fabric, so I'm just going to add it straight to the, well, I guess I can do it this way now. I can see how tall it'll be. I'm going to add just a little bit there so it'll stick to itself. Looks like I didn't get that glued down as well as I could have. Okay. There we go. I'm just gonna pick this up, and that's all gonna be hidden in there, but I'm still gonna go ahead and try and glue it down. There we go. Now, if you don't have matte gel medium, you don't have to use that. You could use Mod Podge if that's what you have. You could use tacky glue, which is basically a PVA glue. I just prefer not to use tacky glue. I don't mind tacky glue so much. I just don't like Mod Podge. In my climate, I've found that over time it just still stays sticky no matter what, and it drives me crazy. And beyond that, I think it's great, but it concerns me when you know, you spend all this time making something like a junk journal, and then the glue that you use remains tacky forever, and then your pages stick together, which is kind of defeating the purpose then. So I just don't use it because you don't know, kind of, you know, in your climate it might be just fine, and I know it is kind of based on climate, how wet the air is where you are, how much humidity you have. You may live in a very arid and dry climate. Probably in Colorado, it's no big deal. But where I live, it gets humid occasionally, you know, in parts of the year, and I just tend not to. I don't buy it anymore. I still have some, and I need to use it up, but I may just donate it, honestly, because it's sitting on my counter, my shelf, taking up space. So. Okay, well, this is a really pretty cover, you guys. I really like this. Now, as far as more decoration, I'm not 100% sure what I want to do, if anything. This isn't super noticeable. Actually, it kind of makes it look old. So does this. So I may just leave those the way that they are. And then we will need to find something to cover the inside, front and back covers. So I will do that at another time. But for this video, I think we're done. So there we go for our really cool cover. Next time I'm going to be decorating in the signatures. So we'll see. This might be kind of a faster video, you guys, or little series, because like I said, I'm not going to do tons and tons of decorating. I think those pages are gorgeous already. So yeah. So hope you had fun this time, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye.